It's interesting. Couple of things. We were talking about those beer cups. I've never seen them.
Really?
Never seen them. This was about an hour ago. I'd seen it on ESPN for the first time. This was at a hockey game. They showed somebody getting a beer, and they put the beer cup down on the table, down on the counter, and it fills from the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, that was like seeing, the ocean for the first time to me. I said, what?
Or snow.
Snow. Where does it come from,
No, it's impressive the first time you see it.
Oh, my goodness. So I said to Chris Demm, when did they invent this? 3 months ago? 2010. Okay, so.
No, I know. They've had them at our stadium for at least 5 years.
The minor league baseball stadium.
Yeah, I went there, and this was probably 3 years ago, and took the lady friend at the moment there, and she saw that for the first time. She's like, oh, my God.
The LFOTM was in tow.
That's right.
Yes.
And saw that, and then we got in our seats, and she was still intrigued by it, and she sat there looking at her beer. I said, whatever you do, I said, don't poke that little magnet at the bottom with your finger. And so it wasn't 30 seconds. So she tilts the cup up, and she takes her finger, and she pokes the magnet, and all this beer comes flowing out. And I said, I just told you, don't poke the damn magnet with your finger.
The one thing. The one piece of
It
advice.
wasn't 30 seconds. Like a caveman the first time seeing fire. Right. Don't touch it.
My hand burned.
Yeah.
Hand hurt.
That's hilarious.
What are you doing, Doug?
That is hilarious.
My daddy said I wasn't the brightest bulb.
Let me ask you this. I just saw this. Similar thing.
I wonder how many people you think do that a night.
A bunch.
A lot. I'm sure. They poke it up.
The
like
magnet's got a little. It's got the logo, the baseball team.
I
You
had
take
no
it
idea.
home.
I didn't even know what it was.
Put it on something that sticks in your car. Or
Somebody
whatever.
said the hockey team has it looks like a little puck, and you can later go and put it on your fridge. Or
It's a much cleaner way to draw beer out of a keg than pulling the big handle.
Yeah.
It's just
Faster.
It shoots up. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fast.
It's beautiful the way. It's a cool looking thing. Here's something for you, Biggie. I asked Chris Demm this earlier. If you could go back now and tell your 18-year-old self one thing, but you only have 3 words. You give your 18-year-old self 3 words of advice. What would it be? And mine was buy Apple stock. And Chris Demm said, "Oh, always chasing that. Always chasing the dollar.
Always chasing that dollar."
And I said, "What do you think Biggie would say?" And Chris Demm said,
Don't eat that.
No, he said,
Keep making pizzas.
Avoid Chris Kelly. Keep making pizza. 3 words of advice you
I've
can tell
got
your.
several I could do on that one.
Yes, I know.
Don't eat that.
Yeah.
Invest that. I mean, it just never ends.
You know what I saw? It was an online thing, and somebody said, don't marry Sheila. It's like future advice for yourself, so you remember it from when you're 18.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain out there.
Yeah.
A lot of pain and regret in this world.
I would do.
Put that down.
Don't touch that. I would do the stock, or I'd say bet on Patriots. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you're
going Biff.
You know the future,
Biff.
but you know it. You know it. You're here. You can go back. You can give your
Tom Brady.
Trust Tom Brady. Bet on Brady. Buy Apple stock. That's what I would do. To try money. It's all about money. He's right. Biff did that in Back to the Future Part 2. That was a Biff thing. He had that sports book, and Biff.
And look at Biff. You're such a Biff.
That's really a lot of. I'm really a Biff. It turned out I'm a big overgrown Biff is basically what I have become. That's right. This is a
B.O.B.
I'm a B.O.B. Big overgrown Biff.
Yeah.
Without the dexterity.
Yeah.
Without the
With
charm.
a pickle paddle.
With a pickle paddle. I'm Biff with a pickle paddle is all I am. There was an interesting story. It's about celebrities. Rainn Wilson. Now, he was in The Office.
Yeah.
And anything else? He's been in some movies or no?
He's in a few other roles, but it's hard for me to see him as anything but
Exactly.
He's the clerk in Juno.
Yes, for about one scene, right? Yeah. That's a pretty good movie, Juno.
I think he's a great actor.
I like him.
I'd like to see him in more.
I've never seen one episode of The Office.
Yeah.
Now I watched the British version.
Okay.
All right, Biff.
Okay. I'm the British version guy.
Yeah.
Remember she's shaking that pregnancy test stick?
Yeah, in Juno.
That ain't no Etch-a-Sketch system.
That's right. He's a good. He is good.
actor.
I like
You know,
him.
for all the shine you think you get for watching The British Office, you do watch Three's Company.
All right. I watch Three's Company. I like
tit
to.
for
They
tat.
equal out.
I like to keep it varied.
Yeah, they cancel each other
I
out.
like to keep. I'll watch Charlie's Angels. But I do watch the British version of The Office. I did. Well, Rainn Wilson, of course, is huge in the American version of The Office.
Yes, key.
Yesterday, he was on. See if you believe him. He was on the Jennifer Hudson show. She's got a talk show in the afternoon now, and she had heard that he lived at one point in a haunted house. And he said it's absolutely true that he lived in a haunted house. I think it was not in this country. It was like somewhere in South America that he lived, and his family traveled a lot when he was a kid. And they lived in South America, and this is him describing what it
It was
was.
this beautiful, like, Victorian house on top of a hill, and it was totally haunted. And they were like, you cannot move in there. This is a totally haunted house. And we, of course, sure enough, we moved into the house, and this is absolutely true story. I swear on my life. Every night we would hear from downstairs this, and every morning we'd come down, and the furniture would all be in different places. So my dad had the brilliant idea. He got a piece of chalk, and he went downstairs, and he drew a little circle around every leg of furniture. And sure enough, the next night, and he went downstairs. Every piece of furniture had moved like 3 to 6 inches. Every single piece.
Oh my God.
So
Oh my God, oh Lord! That's you can say Jennifer Hudson is really invested in this. Here's how they solved it.
what was crazy is that my dad got a bunch of friends together and some people that he met, and they just started saying prayers, and they started praying to the dead and to the spirits and to God, and it never happened again.
So they prayed it on up out of there.
They prayed it out of there.
And you didn't
That's
have to
right.
move from it.
We did not move.
They never moved. We've prayed it up on out of there, says Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, she's a good actress. And she is a talk show host.
Yeah, I took
Talk
that.
about canceling
I
each other
know.
out.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. And they prayed it on up out of there. Yes, she's as good a talk show host as actress. That's an Academy Award winner,
I
Jennifer
know.
Hudson. So, do you believe that story? I mean, he said it moved 6 inches each night until finally they prayed it. Prayed it on up
There
out
may
of
be reasons for them. You know, things can shift. I don't know if it's on a mountain. Who knows?
He said it was on a beautiful cliff as he started. Nicaragua. That's where they were.
Nicaragua.
They were in Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
His father,
Managua, Nicaragua.
yeah, apparently his father was traveled a lot for whatever reason. It reminded me. Now at Halloween, a lot of times we'll talk about ghost stories and so forth. Biggie reviews his movies in October. We know that. You're gearing up.
Yo.
You're getting ready. What are we only? We're only 5 months away. Here.
5 short months.
5 short months.
You better start acting now because the writer strike is going to still be on.
That's right. You better. You're not going to have
Get
any more.
ready.
That'll be okay.
Did you know how many? By the way, there are so many writers' strike now. There's so many celebrities that have been Jennifer Coolidge, all the late night hosts, Jay Leno. They're picketing. Rob Lowe. They're carrying picket signs with those writers.
Yeah.
They're so. Drew Barrymore was out there.
Solidarity.
They're so invested in the writers and the writers' strike,
Well, a lot of them were writers. I mean, that's how many of them
started.
made money
and they also.
or started.
Well,
And
they
they
also
still be in the union.
the actors
sure
say
they
we're nothing without the writers. It's completely about the writers. And
I did read yesterday too that the sides are so far apart.
That's what I heard.
It's going to
I heard
last
it'll be
through the
years.
summer
Yeah.
for sure.
It could be like a year.
really,
Oh yeah,
That's how bad it
fall
is.
TV. If you're, in the olden days, fall TV was a big deal for the networks. It still is.
Yeah.
and they're saying a lot of that's in jeopardy.
well, and Stranger Things we heard yesterday
Yeah.
has closed down production. I heard the two things that are keeping them apart. The issues are the streaming services, and they don't feel they're being fairly compensated for the streaming shows.
That may be.
And then secondly, artificial intelligence. They're worried they're going to be replaced by AI, and of course, all these actors say you cannot replace.
So they want to put clauses in there saying you got to
guess.
use human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah.
I think I told you guys about this guy on TikTok who he's a writer for TV writer, and he would open his residual checks and reveal how much he got. Like every month he collects them and then he opens them. And he said the streamers, you wouldn't get as much money.
No kidding.
Like once it went to streaming, forget it.
Doesn't it seem like They make so it's probably just in my head, but it seems like those streaming companies make so much money, and these production houses make so much money that they would be willing to meet halfway to keep this product going. To keep these going.
I wonder how the deal works though. Let's say you own Man of the House, the sitcom, the rights to it, and then you sell it to a Netflix.
Right.
Once it's sold, right? I mean, is there anything in the contract that says everyone else on the show gets one set amount?
I mean, the
or
actors
do you get paid every time someone watches it?
The actors get a set amount. I know. Well, they make a deal that when it goes into syndication, like I know that the Friends actors get still $20 million a year.
That's traditional syndication.
Traditional syndication.
Streaming is different.
But then, like I read that Matthew Perry book, and he got a big chunk of money when it went to first Netflix, then HBO Max. He got.
Is that one check, one-time deal?
I think he got. Yeah. That's what he said. Big chunk of
money. So if 1 million people started streaming Friends today, he wouldn't get an extra bump.
I don't think he'd get extra.
No. I think. See, like for example, this guy, he would open it up and he'd say, all right, this is $628 for an episode of Tacoma FD, and that must be on TV because the next check was for $21, and that was an 8 Simple Rules. And he goes, oh, well, this must be streaming. When they're this low, it's because they're streaming somewhere.
But if he was a writer on a more popular show than 8 Simple Rules, do you think he'd get more money? Probably so. Right?
No, because he was a writer on many various different shows.
Yes, but 8 Simple Rules paid him $21. If he was on Seinfeld, don't you think it would be $200?
Possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, writers are just writers, right?
I think they're just writers, but I think it's because it's the nuts and bolts in the contract where it's like, as long as we're putting this on broadcast TV, you're going to get this $600 amount. Well, that's not broadcast TV. That's streaming. That's completely different. So they're going to say, well, we're going to pay you this much.
Well, that's why they're on strike.
That's why they're on strike.
Written in.
Now, I will say, like, some of the more popular shows, it sounded like he got, he'd open it up, he'd be like, oh, $1,200 for an episode of, something that was a big hit.
Well, that's what I just said. Seinfeld versus 8
but
Simple
still
Rules.
on TV. But I think
still on TV. Streamer's different. So, anyway, all of that to say that Biggie is gearing up for October. He's ready. He's ready.
As you heard.
So you heard Rainn Wilson's story there about living in a haunted house. It reminded me last October when we talked about these haunted houses. The best haunted house call we ever got from a guy who swears he lived in a haunted house.
I lived in a house in Southern California with my parents. It was a 5-bedroom ranch. It was really long, and we had a pool in the backyard. And there was this little old lady that I guess that lived there 2 or 3 times before we did that died. I can't remember whether she committed suicide because she was sick or whether she was just sick. But my dad always kept his dirty magazines in the master bathroom. And when nobody was home, 13, so I'd be going after my dad's magazines, and that little old lady just loved to just pop out right there around the dresser, stop me in my tracks. And then, how do you go forward? Nobody's home. You're 13. The mood it's killed. It's over.
You're telling me you were ready to get down to business, look at the magazine, and a little old lady popped out and slapped you on the hand.
They weren't. Yeah. I mean, she just would be smiling. Real creepy little smile, long hair. She also used to love to pop out like, when you were in the pool, you could see all the back windows of the house. And she loved to pop out there when you were under the water. Like, you'd be under the water, and you'd look back up at the house, and there she'd be in my parents' bathroom.
Man, and did your parents saw her too?
I don't know about my mom or dad. My sister, who she reads palms and stuff, so she brought it up years later. She goes, "You mean the haunted house?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What haunted house?" So she told me, I said, so it all clicked, and I'm like,
"Yeah,
oh yeah, I remember."
That's the one that stopped you from your bathroom activity.
The Gilf Ghost.
Best haunted house call you'll have. Best haunted house story you perhaps ever hear from that gentleman who, as a teenager, was stopped by the ghost of the old woman.
Since there's no Stranger Things, that's it.
That's right. That's Stranger Things right there.